Reuven Rivlin ending his 7-year term in office, he was a beloved president to many Israelis. And he faced unprecedented obstacles and challenges throughout his tenure: the coronavirus, the gaps in Israeli society, 5 Israeli elections, and the loss of his wife, among many more. So, here to discuss Rivlin's legacy is former Canadian ambassador to Israel, Vivian Bercovici. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So I want to get into the specifics in a minute, but more generally, if you had to sum up his term as president, what do you think Rivlin's lasting legacy will be?
I think he was a breath of fresh air as president, somewhat iconoclastic, and I think his lasting legacy will be to have brought some degree of unity, democratization to the role. He's not, he's a very friendly, open, inclusive sort of person, which isn't to say that those before him were not. But he's avuncular. He's got a lovely manner about him, very down to earth. And I think he made the office and the role seem very accessible and down to earth.
What do you think were the major highlights of his presidency? I mean, what particularly stood out to you?
There were so many things that stood out. The first thing that comes to mind is that he had a tough presidency in many ways because of all the political goings on, but that he came very close to the line at some points of politicizing the role much more than it should be. I'm not saying he did, because I don't think he did, but he came close. And that was kind of, of necessity, because he was president during extraordinary circumstances. He also really opened the doors, to everyone. And I think people felt included. That's Arab Israeli citizens, Jewish Israelis, Druze Israelis, during the passage of the nation-state law, when the Druze were expressing their extreme dissatisfaction with it. President Rivlin really stood up for minority interests and spoke eloquently in their defense.
And I also want to touch upon his successor, Isaac Herzog. What awaits him in his first few months in office? I mean, what are some of the major challenges that he's going to have to address?
Unity is the major challenge he has to address. And I think that he has a vision for what he wants to accomplish, I'm sure. I expect that reaching out to minorities in Israel will be an important thing for him to do, based on his values and how we've seen him, to date in his various roles. And when I say unity, I mean, it's not a simplistic sort of slogan. I mean, I think that Israel needs to find a way citizens in Israel need to find a constructive way to speak to one another and to bridge differences and not politicize everything. And I think that Herzog is a very, very strong candidate to succeed at doing that. It's a tough, tough task. And with respect to, to the degree that the president, which is quite a bit, interacts with the diaspora, with the, world outside of Israel, the broader world outside of Israel, he's very, very capable and well equipped to do that.
Now, in your role as ambassador, did you ever have a personal experience with him that you'd like to share?
Interesting you should ask. I do. So I was appointed January 2014, and very shortly after I was appointed, then Prime Minister Harper of Canada, came to Israel for a fantastic visit. And at the time, Bougie, as he's known, President Herzog, as he's now going to be known, he was the leader of the Labour Party. We were meeting, I can't remember, one of those, there were so many meetings and functions. And I met his wife, and I realized she looked familiar, and she had gone to my high school in Toronto. We'd been at the same high school. I guess her family had lived in Toronto for a number of years when she was a teenager. And the next day we met again, Bougie and I, And he came with a page of the yearbook, the high school yearbook, with my name circled and his autograph, which could be worth a lot more these days.
So Ambassador Vivian Bercovici, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you.